video is going to continue my presentation of chapter 3 of The Heresy of Heresies, a defense of Christian common sense realism. So last video talked a little bit about how the interior path starts with those 6 steps, from going to an awareness of our own being, an awareness of the change of being, to be able to infer, not as a logical inference, but a direct awareness of the reality of eternal being that flows from temporal change of our own being. This is a kind of a way of seeing what reality is. And so it's not a logical deduction or even an abduction or a logical inference. So when I say inference, I don't mean a lot in the logical sense. I mean an awareness of something from direct experience of the thing. Okay. So one of the worries with starting with the interior awareness of the self is the question of whether or not once you go into your mind, if you can ever get out. Okay. So the great strength of Edith Stein's interior path is that you can compare it to the exterior route that we discussed earlier, because any individual can think this through for themselves. This is a great advantage of this view. Our knowledge of being is found from within our experience of ourselves as selves, which is a type of experience which is undeniable. You just can't deny this. That you have self-experience is undeniable. You just can't. It's impossible to deny that. But it does have some weaknesses, and here's a couple of them. One of the weaknesses of Stein's approach is that it seems to point to the eternality of being without illustrating how existence involves essential exemplification. So when I'm aware of being, I'm aware of my own internal experiences. I don't, by way of a judgment, immediately grasp that being is the essential or the exemplification of an essence, whether an essence of myself, an essence of that moment in time, or an essence of change over time. So if existence is essential exemplification, which I've been arguing in the previous chapter portions of the book, then does Stein's account of being as eternal conflict with the notion of existence derived from my sense experience? And I think the answer is no, it doesn't. The two ideas, existence is essential exemplification and existence is eternal, are compatible. They're certainly not contradictory, but I think they are compatible. The exterior route simply shows us what experience is, and the exterior route simply shows us what existence is, and the interior route adds additional information to the concept of existence derived from the exterior route. So conceptually speaking, the two views of existence don't militate against one another. They're not incompatible. All right, we'll keep going. One worry here is there might be a logical problem with Stein's presentation. One objection is that her approach might be a sort of weak induction, a hasty generalization. So her argument seems to go something like this. Temporal phenomenal experiences, let's call this TPE. A temporal phenomenal experience, again, is an awareness of a moment in time in your thought life, in your self-consciousness. TPE, a TPE, a temporal phenomenal experience, has being as the most salient features of our experiences, of our awarenesses. We can be aware of TPE1 through TPEN in any series of time T1 through Tn. So you have that awareness. TPE1 through TPEN have being, therefore there is being over and above TPE1 through TPEN, which is eternal. Okay, so the question is that a hasty generalization, right? Because you only have a certain finite number of TPEs, temporal phenomenal experiences, from which to generalize. So if we have awareness of a small set of change in being, does that necessarily or only probably imply eternal being? So just to review, those of you that either haven't had a course in basic reasoning or logic, a hasty generalization is a weak induction. in which a sample class or size is too small to make a general claim about the whole class. So, for example, if you go to New York City, I'm sure it's lovely this time of year. Don't think that proposition is false necessarily, but that is, I literally mean necessarily false. It's false in all possible worlds, but no offense to New Yorkers. But suppose you go to New York. If you don't like picking on New York, suppose you go to LA, go to Southern California. You go to Southern California and you meet 3 people, and they're all rude. They just don't even talk to you. They're too interested in how good the weather is and about what they're doing in life. So you generalize that all Southern Californians are rude, or even worse, that Southern Californians are essentially rude. Okay, that's even worse. So it seems like if you only meet 3 out of millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of Southern Californians, that's a fallacy of hasty generalization. The sample size is too small to offer that general descriptions of California. So the question is Stein's argument like that? I think the answer is no. I don't think this is a hasty generalization. Stein's argument does move from a being of an individual particular experience or discrete moments in time, and then infers the existence of being that is eternal and finite. Okay, so I think her argument works that way. However, this is not a move from a description of a feature, i.e. being of a few moments, to all moments of time. That's not what she's doing. It's rather a movement from the reality of the feature of the being of moments of time to a being which is non-temporal and non-eternal. So since Stein inference is not a generalization at all, it can't be a hasty one. So I think she dodges that particular worry. Okay. Stein's argument seems to be an induction. It does seem to be inductive to me. And as with all inductions, the conclusion only probably follows from the premises. So the better question here is, how strong is Stein's induction, right? Because inductions can have a range to them, being from the low probability to a high probability. How likely is it that there is eternal being, given that there is finite being? Well, that's a good question, right? So I think Stein's conclusion seems to have good explanatory power. So in that sense, I think it's seems like, since it has that explanatory power, that means it's very highly probable. Her claim is that eternal being can explain certain features of temporal being. For example, the commonality of being across distinct and discrete moments of eternal being. Right? It's like, so how do you explain the circularity of circles when you run into them? Well, maybe there's something called circularity itself, which is in as a kind of form in each circle, something like that, right? Eternal being can be seen as that which informs each moment of finite being and unifies them as the same kind of reality, in a similar way in which the universals, say, redness or circularity, can explain the unity of all red things. So Stein's argument from particular to universal, although inductive, appears in my view to be strong. It's a pretty good argument. It's inductive, but it's inductively strong. Okay, so let's that's a couple maybe minor problems with Stein's view on this topic, but maybe the next video we'll get into some more major problems, a more serious problem that has to do with this, and that has to do with, and I've already raised this earlier in a couple videos ago, about the question of our knowledge of non-being. Okay, this is going to be a major problem, and so we'll look at maybe some ideas from Heidegger and Stein's connection there. I think it's going to be a major problem. I think it can be overcome if handled the right way. So stay tuned. The next video will cover that. Thanks so much for watching. Really enjoy having you here. And if you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe. Even if you really, really, really like, please like. I mean, even if you love these videos, you just you don't push the like button because you're like, oh, this video is way more than just merely deserving a like. And since there's no I love this video, I'm not going to push the like. Push the like button. That's sufficient for expressing your love, your storge love, your affection for this kind of, or maybe it's kind of philo, right? A friendship with these ideas and wisdom. So like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Stay psyched, Grom. You.